When you hear the name Raditz, he's one of those characters that don't get enough credit. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about why Raditz is one of the most important characters in the series. Now, and we're here to tell you why. Now, Raditz makes his debut in the Dragon Ball Z portion of the series, and at this point, he is the first major antagonist that we see. Now, it's a big deal when he does shows up in debut, because at this point, this is coming a couple years after Goku and Piccolo had their match in the World Martial Arts Tournament, and they was considered as the two strongest on the planet around this time. So when Raditz shows up, he completely outclasses both of them, and only with the help of Goku's son Gohan, who has a hidden power and potential that kind of helps them get the win. And they had to team up, which they was sworn enemies at this point, and teaming up to be able to defeat, a character like Raditz. So he definitely was a strong person at this point in the series, and considered as the strongest up to that point. But what makes Raditz's debut so much important was the things that happened, because if he didn't show up, there's a couple of chain of events of things that would have happened completely different, and there's a lot of stuff that we would have missed out on that we wouldn't have gotten if Raditz never came to Earth. So first thing first, when Raditz shows up, he pretty much reveals to Goku his heritage and let him know that he is an alien, and an alien race called the Saiyans. Letting him know about their homeworld being destroyed, and pretty much giving Goku a backstory about where he came from, without Goku ever knowing any of this throughout his whole life. Up to this point, this was a big shocker to Goku. Not much of a big shocker to everyone else, because everyone knew Goku was much different from the other Earthlings, but just actually getting an idea of where Goku came from and how he got there was definitely a big reveal at this point. And now Goku knows what kind of race he's from. But this still doesn't convince Goku to pretty much leave with Raditz to join him, because of all the evil things that Raditz was doing and how he was treating his friends. So at this point, Raditz has no choice but to kidnap Goku's son, Gohan, who is a half Saiyan, to pretty much convince Goku to pretty much join him. But Goku ends up, joining Piccolo, and they team up to pretty much take out Raditz, which at the same time, Goku had to sacrifice himself so they could get this victory. But Goku didn't have any worries, because they had the Dragon Balls where they could wish Goku back. But Raditz did reveal that he had two other Saiyan partners who was listening in, and they would come looking for him. And this is what set the chain of events for everybody to train and prepare for Nappa and Vegeta, who was on their way to Earth in 1 year. Now, this is all big set of chain of events, because at this point, if Raditz never came to Earth, Goku would have never learned his heritage. He would never knew he was a Saiyan, and he wouldn't have no clue of anything that he was an alien or any of that, which in turn would have led to a big, huge chain of events, because at this point, Goku would have never died against, Raditz, and he would have never gone and meet King Kai to pretty much get King Kai special training to learn techniques like the Spirit Bomb and others. And at this point, Nappa and Vegeta would have had no reason to come to Earth, which if they never came to Earth, that means Piccolo would have never knew he was an alien as well, and they would never discover about Namek and know anything about the Namekians pretty much. So those are two major things, because at this point, that means Goku is going to lose out on some major training from King Kai, and pretty much get that super increase in power that he needs, and learn those new techniques that definitely comes in a clutch through a lot of his major battles. And the other thing too as well is that they would learn nothing about Piccolo's origins, and knowing Piccolo would never knew that he was an alien from Namek, and learn anything about his people, and that there was other Dragon Balls out there as well, which they're going to need that. Now in turn, things would have still been safe, because there would have been no other threats coming to Earth around this point. So that means they didn't have to worry about any of the Saiyans or Frieza at this point, because they would have had no clue of who Frieza was. But like I said, a lot of characters would have been weaker, because at this point, Piccolo would have never died against Nappa, so he would have never gone to King Kai's planet and train as well to get stronger. And at this point, they would never had no reason to go to Namek, which Piccolo would never been able to fuse with Nell and get that first fusion to get that power boost. Goku would have never learned any of this training from, King Kai, or training 100 times normal gravity to get stronger. And he would never discover Super Saiyan because they would never fought Frieza, Krillin never got killed, and they would never discover Vegeta or any of that. So this is all playing a big factor. And now up to this point, everything was somewhat be kind of smooth. Goku would still continue training on Earth, probably have another match against Piccolo, probably defeat Piccolo again. But he may have discovered Gohan's hidden power, but Gohan probably wouldn't have gotten the training that he needed to get and become as strong. But the thing that would have changed everything is the androids, because Dr. Zero was still watching Goku and wanted to get his revenge, and still would have to try to release the androids. And at this point, Android 20, Android 19 would have been strong enough to defeat everybody up to this point, because they would have had no, they wouldn't have been expecting them at this point slightly, and they would have got taken out because they would have had no Super Saiyan at this point or nothing to unlock that. But it's possible that they still could have got the warning of the androids, because Bulma from the future timeline would have still made a time machine to try to come back to warn Goku and them in the past. But in short, there would have been no future Trunks because Vegeta wouldn't have been there, and most likely Bulma would have probably had a kid with Yamcha, possible, or maybe not, but most likely Bulma would have came back to the past to pretty much warn Goku about this. And when all this happens, Goku would probably prepare for the androids and try to get as strong. But it would have been kind of hard for him to gauge how powerful they were, because the thing is, Goku had an idea of how strong the androids would be by Future Trunks showing up and being a Super Saiyan. Goku would have been able to tap, like, by Future Trunks coming and Goku knowing that he's a Super Saiyan, and kind of like seeing where his power is, Goku kind of gauged to know, like, okay, hey, how much he had to train, and what's the bar for, like, in power, at least, that he knows he has to, like, reach to pretty much stop. But at this point, if Android 20 and them shows up, and like I said, if Bulma is the one coming back, she's not going to be able to gauge the power to know how strong the androids is at this point. Just knowing that Goku has to be stronger than his current self, and know he has to train hard, but he doesn't know how hard he'll train, if it's going to be enough to pretty much achieve a level to pretty much stop the androids at this point. And maybe Android 20, Android 19 probably might not make themselves as strong, because they probably be gauging the power of Goku up to that point. And by them gauging Goku around the time frame against, Vegeta, that was like him enough to make the powers of the android that strong enough. So at this point, he probably would have just been able to gauge Goku up to the World Martial Arts Tournament against Piccolo, and probably make a power from that point. But it's kind of hard to say just how powerful they would have been. But that would definitely been a complication for Goku and the others at this point, because they would just have to, like, train their hardest without no Super Saiyan and pretty much hope for the best. And if their androids will still be the same strength as their current timeline, then they would have been in big trouble and not be able to even get past, Android 20 and Android 19, let alone Android, 18 and 17 shows up. It's all over, and Cell. So definitely people don't understand just why important a character like Raditz was, because he definitely set a bar for them to set, things to new heights and new levels on the Z portion of Dragon Ball. And at the same time too, it also set a chain of events for everybody to get stronger and open up the world to new things, and ultimately probably save their lives in the long run, because due to all the things that they was able to go through, as far as, like, meeting King Kai, Namek, and Frieza, and Vegeta, and Nappa. All this opened up room for all the characters to pretty much improve and be prepared for the later threats like the androids and Cell. So this will all play a big factor, and definitely later down the line, if Bobby showed up, there would have been no match for Deborah at all. He would just wipe the floor clean with all of them, let alone. So at this point, it really just didn't matter, how far they really would have trained just without having that Super Saiyan things and stuff. Of course, Goku would have always found a way to have different adventures, and maybe things would have played slightly different. Maybe Goku would have, you know, found a new adventure or found a way to travel out of space to, you know, find new challenges at this point and stuff. Goku is someone who will get restless and just keep on training to improve. But if he's the strongest, it would have got pretty boring for Goku, and who knows how far off that, you know, Goku would have got himself motivated to, you know, find new adventures and stuff. So it's kind of hard to say. But that's it for this video. Like I said, this is why, you know, Raditz is one of the most important characters, and why he's so important to the series. And without him, there definitely would have been a lot of things that happened different and changed. So that's it for this video. Get in the comments and hit the notification bell, and I'm out.